I'm a paramedic. This happened about 2 years ago. I've been working for 7 years and had just been promoted to Field Training Officer, FTO. Basically means I get stuck training the new hires. I've got one today. It's been pretty Q-word, only 2 calls, both were bullshit. My partner has a type A personality, so she's itching for a good call. Dispatch comes out with an abdominal pain. The location is a trailer park that we're pretty familiar with. There's about 15 people standing around outside the trailer. I ask if anyone knows the patient. A middle-aged guy tells me, yeah, it's his sister. Stomach pain's been hurting for about 3 days, getting progressively worse. She take anything for it? Yeah, just some Tums. Didn't help. Your sister have any medical problems that we should know about? Oh yeah, she's got a whole list of them. Can't even keep track anymore. Oh boy. My partner and I open the front door and are buffeted with the worst GI blood I've ever smelled. Now, if you've never smelled GI blood, know that it is one of the worst smells the human body is capable of creating. You develop a bleeding ulcer somewhere in your digestive tract. The blood partially digests and then mixes with your shit. It's horrible and odds. I carry peppermint jelly for this exact reason. My partner and I slather it under our noses. New guy thinks he's tough and can go without it. Whatever you say, dog if. Open the front door and step in. Despite enough peppermint jelly for a Christmas in July, I can still smell it. Jesus. Find the patient in the living room. She's sitting on a love seat and occupying it entirely. Weighs at least 600 pounds. Lowest estimate. Trailer is fucking freezing. 4 window units blasting just into the living room. Patient looks like she's asleep. I try to check the pulse in her wrist. Too fucking fat to find one. Try to check pulse in her neck. Too fucking fat to find one. It lives. I know we're gonna need additional support. Have the new guy call it in. Dispatch asks for the nature of the complaint. GI blood, and we need more resources to move the patient. Also a bariatric stretcher. PIC related. Copy that, Med 6. 1 Engine 4 is en route to your location, and they should be there in about 5 minutes. Dispatch, be advised, 1 engine company might not be enough. Copy 6-1, please advise approximately how much does the patient weigh? 6-1 estimates at least 600 pounds. Copy that, 6-1. Engine 9 and Medic 6-6 are en route. Remember that the new guy should probably be getting some more practice running the call. Turn around. He's not there. Hear him outside. Resh.mp3. Look back at my patient. I realized that she wasn't asleep. She's just so fat that her cheeks and forehead were burying her eyes. What's going on today, ma'am? Okay. Okay, ma'am. My name's Anon. This is my partner, Annette. We're gonna do everything we can for you today to get you feeling better. She continues to mumble, or maybe groan. I can't tell. My partner and I try to get a basic assessment done. It's a disaster. None of our blood pressure cuffs will fit around her arm. The biggest one barely fits around her forearm, but she's so fat that it's impossible to hear her pulse. Annette applies the automatic one attached to our cardiac arrest monitor and lets it cycle. The Pulse OX barely fits her pinky finger, and it goes from 85% to 50% to 90% and everywhere in between. Annette goes to apply the 12-lead ECG to take a look at this beast's heart. The patient is pointing or reaching for something on her end table. It's a lunchbox. I hand it to her, she opens it and thrusts a stack of papers at me. It's her meds list. The pill bottles fill the lunchbox. From the list, I can tell she's had congestive heart failure, diabetes, AFib, and more. There's at least 20 daily medications. I can hear an Engine 4 arriving outside. Annette is still working on the 12-lead, trying to figure out where to place the stickers. Impossible to tell where one fat roll ends and the other one begins. Annette lifts a flap, immediately drops it, comes close to me. There's an old lead under there. What the fuck? A sticker from the last ECG is buried in her rolls. I hear the engine company come up the stairs. They open the door. At that exact moment, the patient clutches her belly and groans. Lets out a shit that sounded like hot bubbling magma. Floods the air with the scent of fresh death. Both of my partner's eyes water. Oh God! From the doorway. Door slams. Ma'am, how long have you been having these symptoms? About 3 days. Annette finally gets the 12 lead done and printed. Shows this ham has had 2 previous heart attacks. Annette doesn't look like she can take it any longer. I tell her to go outside and fill in engine 4. Hear engine 9 and medic 66 arriving. I have no idea what the fuck to do for this patient. Normally I'd start an IV and start replacing lost fluids. Her arms are buried in their own fat, making an IV impossible. Med 66 calls me over the radio. Normally not surprised to leave patients unattended, but fuck it. Go outside, fill everyone in on what's happening. Hand 66 the patient's paperwork, while I share the peppermint with everybody. Ulcerated vulvar cancer. What? The other medic points out to another page the list of a diagnosis. Ulcerated vulvar cancer. We exchange a look. Everyone follows me inside. Patient is eating something in a wrapper, taken from the end table. Firemen are trying to plan for an extraction. Measure her. Measure doorway. Never gonna happen. I let the firemen take care of the extraction process, just focus on my patient. And that checks blood sugar. 200 something. Firemen tell me there's no physical way we're getting her out of the house. Till fireman she has to go to hospital. They go outside to think about it. Notice it's quiet. Too quiet on Shrek. The air conditioning is cut off. A new guy goes to figure it out. Can't. It's the middle of July and can already feel it starting to heat up. Annette and I decide to open the windows. The crowd outside screams and disperses. I can tell we're going to be here a while Fire works an extraction plan with Med 66. Decide fuck it, I'm going to try an IV. Look over patient's medical records again. She's only 38 years old. Figure she's probably halfway decent veins buried under there. Ask Annette to help me. Gives me a look of, are you fucking serious? Tie 3 tourniquets around patient's left arm. She moans something, but can't tell. She's slowly losing consciousness. Rip off one end of my glove to feel for a vein. Touch its skin. Sweaty, despite sitting in a freezing cold house all day. Push around, feel something. Get Annette and one of the 66 medics to pull up her arm flap out of the way to hold the skin tight. Patient is snoring now. The blood pressure on the cardiac monitor has been cycling over and over and finally gives a decent reading. Blood pressure 67 out of 48. Down from 102 over 80 half an hour ago. Shit. She's paler now too. Fuck. I close my eyes. Go Zen IV mode. Feel it. Maybe it's her brachydactyl artery. Fuck it. Line up an 18 gauge needle. Slowly push it in. She doesn't bulge. A little deeper. I can feel it right there. Nothing. A little deeper. Nothing. Deeper. Nothing. Annette is pursing her lips. Med 66 is shaking his head. Pull back a little. Adjust. Advance. Blood flows back into the flash chamber. Holy shit. Advance a little farther. Advance the catheter. It's definitely in. We tape the line down like a combat dressing. Start running 2 liters of fluid. Get high fives for the patient line. Fire tells me the extraction plan. We're gonna cut the side of the trailer off. What? She ain't gonna fit out the door. She ain't gonna fit out the stretcher, brother. We're gonna cut the side of the trailer off and pull her out of here on a tarp. Ask if maybe we should call Greenpeace. Laughs. By now, we've been here probably 2 hours, and everyone and their brother has gathered outside to watch. Annette leaves to help unattach the metal stretcher clamps out the front door of the ambulance so we can slide the whale in the floor. I decide I have to strip the patient down and do a physical assessment. Tell the patient this. She's really asleep this time. Shirt is already gone, nothing remarkable on her chest or arms. Have to push her forward to look at her back. Push really hard. There's a peeling sound as she separates from the fabric of the couch. Leaves behind a thin layer of skin. Realize snoring has stopped. Let her tip back, run around the front a bit, tilt her head back. Breathing resumes. Take her socks off. Somehow this thing could create even worse smells. As carefully as I am, the sock still stands up a plume of dust, of dead skin and God knows what. Frantically put on an N95 mask. Feet are horrible masses of molted flesh. Skin is dry and peeling on top. Feet are so edematous that they look like water balloons ready to burst. Toes are indistinguishable, left foot is weeping fluid from the side. Actually afraid to touch them. Ankles and calves are the same way. There's no way I'm getting the pants off her. Decide to cut them off. Get up her thigh and the fabric gets crispy. Notice there's a slight darker shade of purple. Don't even want to know the JPEG. Fire is starting to cut the side of the house as they finish the second leg. New guy helps me pull the fabric apart. So crusty it sort of opens like a clamshell. Snoring is gone again. New guy goes to work on the bag valve mask. We need to intubate her. Get my intubation kit. Not really sure what blade size to use. Neck is the same as the chin. Go for a Millith size 3 and a size 7 tube because that tends to work on most folks, I guess. Annette is back. Realize we can't move the patient to the floor quickly enough. Also realize that our normal dose of intubation drugs probably won't work. Annette gets on the radio with the medical control. Tells the doc at the ER that our normal doses of etomidate and succinylcholine won't work on a patient because of his weight. ER doc is a chill dude. Ask patient weight. Tell him. He has no idea either. Just give the weight-based doses, don't worry about a maximum. Etomidate is 0.3 milligrams a kilo. Works out like 90 milligrams. Comes supplied in 20 milligram vials, because there is a normal max dose for humans. We had one vial, 66 is one vial, and the district chief who showed up to watch the show has one vial. Fuck it. 60 milligrams of etomidate IV push. I asked the new guy if he needs an intubation. Yeah, your time to shine, my friend. How? He's gonna have to sit on her lap. No way, man. Don't want him to fuck it up and kill this beast? I go for it. Rippletoes prepared me for this moment. Squat over her lap, not touching. Functional strength at WebM. I flip the laryngoscope upside down, tomahawk style, while Annette and the new guy control patient's head. Insert blade, pull downward. Patient gags. I several faster than an Olympic gymnast. Patient vomits. Vomits is full of blood. Have to get succinylcholine to paralyze her gag reflex. Dose is 1.5 milligrams a kilo. Comes in 100 milligram vials. We need like 450 milligrams. I have 300. Fuck it. 300 it is. Push it. She fussiculates by some miracle. It worked. Squat into place again, careful to avoid swamp puddle of vomit, bloody shit, and spilled a big gulp soda. Offer prayer of thanks to the ripplitis. Insert blade, visualize vocal cords, insert ET tube. One of the easiest intubations I've ever done. Allow Annette and new guy to take over conforming tube placement. Did I mention that fire's been soaring into the side of the house this whole time? By now, we've probably been here at least 3 hours. Engine 9 comes back inside, says that they've backed up our ambulance into position and cleared a path, but the ground is too rocky to drag her over without tearing her skin up. Apparently, they're triple stacked tarps and slicked in between spaces with baby oil. We're gonna fucking slip and slide this stick of butter. While Fire is finished cutting a hole in the trailer, the other 2 medics and 4 firemen start to roll her out of the couch. Realize this isn't going to work and we can't control her descent. Fire and us start taking the couch apart around her. Cut off the back and peel it away, taking skin with it. Patient's back is covered in sores and bleeding wounds. Fat sort of melts down the back of the side of the couch. And I thought it couldn't smell worse. I can actually feel the caustic air melting my olfactory nerves. Position the tarp behind her. Roll the human boulder backwards. She doesn't really fall, just kind of glops into place. Fire finishes cutting the side off as we finish moving her to the tarp. Without the oppression of armrests, her rolls have expanded further. She ain't no fit. Fire remeasures, cuts some notches into the sides of the wall, and allow her rolls to pass. We get the rest of her clothes off. New guy gets to see what ulcerated vulva cancer means. Runs outside. Pukes again. Covered her with a sheet. Another sheet. Another sheet. That'll do, donkey. We all kick the trash and garbage we can out from our path from the linoleum floor. Grease up the floor with butter from the fridge. All understanding how fucking ridiculous this is. Slide the tarp to the entrance. There's a goddamn circus waiting for us outside. Every civilian in a 20-mile radius, 3 cops, 2 trucks, the whole shebang. Attaching lifting straps to the contact points on the tarp. Me and 2 firemen get uphill to control the downslide. Holding as hard as we can, basically trying to hang on to, Lamau. Whale dives. We let go. She slides down the slope a few feet and lands directly at the bottom. We check ET2 placement. We're good. Now for the fun part. Everyone takes a lifting strap or a corner of the tarp. Me and 5 firemen pull pulling as hard as we can to get her to slide up into the ambulance while everyone else pushes. Lamau. Lightweight baby. We can barely push her. Fire has come-alongs, those ratchety things. Hook up 2 of them to the overhead grab bars of the ambulance. Start cranking away while others pull. It's working. Get her about halfway up. The grab bars shear and give way, ripping out of the ceiling. Avalanches back down the slope. Fuck. Now what? Fire has an idea. Gets out their winch. Rigs up a pulley system, pulling the winch in through the side door and around the bench seat. Hooks the winch to the top. Realize we've been here for like 5 hours and I still haven't eaten lunch. Fire slowly starts to crank their winch while everyone else pulls. It's working. Patient is 3/4 of the way up. Note that this is just the back step of the ambulance, maybe like 3 feet off the ground. Force of the winch is starting to dip the ambulance to the side. We all just go for it. Pull as hard as possible. Lamau. Her head clears the step, then the shoulders, and Janine attaches their winch to the other side of our truck and pulls the opposite direction to keep us from tipping. It's getting harder to move her. The tarp is catching on the crosshatch metal of the ambulance floor. New guy and one of the 66 medics run back into the house. Bring back the butter. Grease up the floor in front of us as we pull her in. Slowly gets easier. 2 cops on each side hold their fat rolls up so they don't catch on the doors of the ambulance. Get Shamu in place. Recheck ET2 placement. We're good. I'm thankful that she's probably unconscious. All those random moves probably hurt like hell. Go back outside to put stuff away and get ready to transport. Whole crowd is cheering. Ambulance suspension is straining. Pack up. Annette drives and new guy stays in the back with me to ventilate. Head out. Someone have to call this guy into the hospital. City ER. City ER. This is EMS 61. Go ahead, 61. Bringing you a 38-year-old female patient came from the home chief complaint of abdominal pain, progressing into hypervolic shock secondary to serious GI bleed, worsening over the past 3 days. Vitals of pulse 86 AFB on the monitor, and last pressure was 110 over 82. Pulse ox 90% on 100% O2, and we've got the 4th liter of fluid running this patient, has a GCS of 3 right now, and please be advised we do have her intubated. We're about 10 minutes out. Do you require any further? City ER EMS 61. How do you copy? Chell opens up and I can hear suppressed laughter in the background. City ER copies your traffic 61. Please advise. Laughter. Channel cuts. 61, please advise, does this patient weigh 600 pounds? City ER 61, affirmative on that. Channel opens up again. The nurse can barely hold it together. Copy 61, room 7 on arrival. Next 10 minutes are pretty routine. I'll check all her vitals and think about how we're going to get this patient from the ambulance bay into the ER. Engine 9 is following us, hopefully they'll have it figured out. Arrive back into place. Entire hospital staff is there to greet us. Open ambulance doors, everyone peering in to look at Free Willy. Realize hospital staff have no clue how to get her into the bed. Neither does Engine 9. Realize we can't lift her or slide her out of the truck and onto the bed without serious risk. Ambulance suspension is sagging, so we're pretty much flush with the ambulance bay. Rig up ramp with a few backboards and duct tape together. Engine 9 brought the butter. Grease up the backboards too. She slides onto the floor smoothly. Don't really want to take our time with it because I'm not sure how much weight it'll hold on to. Now what? I can't leave because I'm not relieved of patient care until the patient is in a hospital bed. Tell the new guy to run to the cafeteria to get me something to eat. Hospital calls up the Batrick ward. They'll send down this fatty crane thing. We're still out in the ambulance bay. Hot as fuck. ER doc comes out to watch and take my report. You gave how much etomidate? Just the weight-based dose as he said. Are you still alive? I think so. Fatty crane arrives. Hook her up to a tarp. Patient is on the floor. Everyone walks to the circumference of the tarp to get in a position. I had you there for a second. Fatty crane starts to lift. The tarp had torn a hole from all the dragging. Various fluids begin to drip into the floor. Some nurses can't take the smell and bail. Oh, right. It still smells. I no longer notice it. I'm immune to this suffering. My power is increased. Lower her to the Batrick stretcher. Basically an adjustable inflatable king-size mattress. Fatty Crane releases her. We need to get her off the tarp and clean her up. Takes 4 nurses and Annette and I to control the stretcher back into the ER base. Takes a dozen nurses to roll her onto one side, and then the other to get the tarp from under her and clean her up. Doc inspects the wounds on her back, legs, and neck. I give full report. The nurses somehow get a tarp from underneath the patient. Cycle the scale on the stretcher. 767 pounds. Doc starts giving orders to nurse. Wants urine sample. Nope. Have doctor sign my transfer of care report and deviation from protocol form. Nurse comes back with a catheter kit. 2 of them grab Fupa. 2 grab each leg. I'm out of there. Finally able to take my gloves off. Hands are pruny and soaked with sweat. Feel tingly and almost numb. Peppermint jelly is still nearly plugging my nose. Annette tells me I smell like death. Go back to ambulance. Blood, butter, and shit, and God knows what all over the floor. New guy comes back with food for all of us. Still no appetite. Annette and I start pressure washing the inside of the truck, while the new guy cleans the outside areas and the floor of the ambulance bay. Rinse again. Rinse with bleach. Rinse with water. More bleach. Water. Oh, clean. New guy drives back to the station with Annette, while I strip our clothes off and change into spare uniforms in the back of the truck. Throw old ones in biohazard bag. Back into station, shower like it's a baptism. Call dispatch, let them know we're back in service. Us, Med 66, Engine 4 and Engine 9 all went out for drinks that weekend. Hope you enjoyed the story, Anons.
Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to Mr. Green and check out all of his social medias down below. My name Goda.